Hey friends, welcome back to Mustard Seed Homesteading. If you're new to my channel, my name is Megan and I'm really glad that you're here. What I normally do on this channel is give weekly garden tours so that you can see the constant transformation of my garden. But today I'm going to show you how I plant my seed potatoes in my GreenStalk. This is my second time planting potatoes, and this is something I really want to learn to master, especially in my GreenStalks. I've grown them in grow bags before, and while I've had great success, I've had better success with GreenStalks, but I want to perfect it. And so I'm going to show you something that I'm doing differently this time than I did the last video, which I will leave in the description below. So let's get started. And I quickly want to add, while I probably would get great success with growing potatoes in the ground, I really want to perfect growing them in the GreenStalks because they're vertical planters and they save a lot of space. But also I love the versatility that they have, where I can put them in the sun or out of the sun or roll them into my garage if I need to. So those are my big reasons for why I want to perfect growing them in the GreenStalk. So before I get started with showing you how I plant them into the GreenStalks and the one thing that I'm doing differently this year, I want to show you the seed potatoes that I have. Now, what I did was I purchased my seed potatoes from the grocery store, but I purchased them completely organic because if they're not organic, because of the spraying, you won't have these grow from the potato. This is what you need in order to grow more potatoes. So I just purchased mine from the store. I have gotten my seed potatoes, a lot of them from Wood Prairie Farm. I didn't order them on time this year, so I just went to the store and I purchased some. And I just want to quickly show you a couple. So, and these ones I had cut up. Now some of them are not cut up, and some of them are cut up because I have about 60 spots to fill for potato seeds. And so I just want to show you, this is what you want on your potato seeds. They're little eyes is what they're called. And you want to plant this way up. So you want to see these on your potatoes. Now I've got one here. Now this one doesn't have a whole lot, but I'm also past the window of when I'm supposed to plant for the fall. This is actually my first time planting for the fall season. So I just want to get them in. I'm going to do a little bit of an experiment to see how these do compared to this, just to kind of experiment, because like I said, I want to perfect growing potatoes in the GreenStalks and I want to see what does better than the other. So these are the seed potatoes, and I believe these are Yukon Gold, and these are what are these called? Red potatoes. Can't even think right now. Red potatoes. So we have Yukon Gold and we have red potatoes, and that's pretty much all that I'm planting in the GreenStalk. Okay, the next thing I want to share with you is what's in my GreenStalks to plant. Now, I already have Bocto soil and black cow compost in there. Those are my two favorite that I like to combine together in the GreenStalks. But because I've kept up with watering them and making sure that the soil stays moist, I'm not really going to add any more soil or compost to it, but what I am going to add is fertilizer. So I am going to add the Wood Prairie Farm fertilizer that I purchased. Let me see if I can get a close-up so you guys can see the numbers. So it's pretty much a 426, and so this is kind of an all-around, all-purpose potato fertilizer. And then the other one that I'm going to be adding is their Oasis, and this one is an 11, 0.7, and 1%. Now this one I really use to kind of amend as the potatoes are growing, but I'm going to put both in there for the, for planting them at first. And then as the leaves start to grow, as the stems start to grow and I have to hill, I'm going to add this every couple of weeks just to kind of continue to give it some food. Okay, so I'm going to give you a close-up of one of the GreenStalks, and I'm going to plant this one and show you how I put my seed potatoes and what I'm doing differently this year, because I am losing light, and this is the main thing that I want to show you, so that if you decide to plant your potatoes in a GreenStalk and if this becomes extremely successful doing it this way, not that I haven't had success growing potatoes in here, but I feel like what I think will work the best if I do it this way, that if it's very successful, then you can do the same thing and have a bunch of potatoes that you can harvest from your GreenStalk as well. So as you can see, I told you that I kept up with watering. You can see it's nice, and let's see if I can get that focused. It's just a beautiful soil, and it's been, you know, just well taken care of by consistent watering so that it doesn't get super, I'll grab like a heart, okay, like you can see this one's really brittle and just dry. You don't want that. You want to keep your soil moist. If there was ever anything that I could encourage you to do when you have GreenStalks and you're not using them for anything, keep them watered at all times, not soaking, but enough to keep your soil moist so that you don't have super hard soil when you go to plant anything. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the potato fertilizer to the soil. And I don't really measure, I just kind of take a handful and I just kind of sprinkle it in there of what I feel like it needs. I don't put a whole lot, but I don't put a little either. And then here's the Oasis fertilizer. So now that I have all of my potato seeds ready for putting them into the pockets, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna stir up the fertilizer that I put in here in each pocket. Now, my last video, what I did was when I planted my seed potato, I planted it where it only needed about, let's see if I can, where it only needed about 2 to 3 inches right here. That's not what I'm gonna do this time. What I'm gonna do this time is I'm gonna plant it probably about 4 to 5 inches deep, because these are 10-inch deep pockets. So I'm gonna leave about 4 to 5 inches at the bottom of the GreenStalk for growth, but I'm gonna leave a lot more space up top, because I feel like if I can plant this a little bit deeper and then come back and hill around it, I just feel like that would allow me to grow more potatoes than as opposed to the way I did it before. So this is totally an experiment. I think it's worth trying, especially for fall potatoes, and just kind of see what happens. So let's go ahead and plant these. While I personally find growing my own vegetables to be very important to me for various reasons, if there was one main vegetable that I find to be the most important, it would be potatoes first. At least for me, it would. One of the many lessons I learned from 2020 was not to rely on the stores, and potatoes have become an absolute must in my garden. And my thinking is, if I can grow a large amount of potatoes vertically, then it would allow me to have a good supply of potatoes for my family throughout the year by planting in the fall as well as the spring. So at this point, I'm gonna leave it just like that. So you can see there's a lot of space right here, at least, like I said, 4 to 5 inches of space up top. And then once it starts to grow is when I'm going to start putting, probably I may even do straw where I kind of put it around there. I haven't decided that yet, but I have a feeling that this will produce more potatoes. Now I do have to fit this on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to take my fist and put it down, because I don't want to move this over the pocket. So I want to keep this here, but I also need to make sure that when I put that gray the gray water tray where the water trickles through the holes down into the pockets, the reservoir, I can't even think right now, the reservoir, I need to make sure that there's space here, so when I put this on here, that there's space for water to get through. So that's why I'm using my fist to put this, to kind of compact it, but I also don't want it to cover that whole part of the GreenStalk. So I'm excited about this. I will definitely show you what happens, and when I harvest I'll make a video on this, but I think that this is going to give me even more potatoes. My last harvest with this was good. I was very happy, and so far it has given me 2 dinners, and I think I have maybe 3, maybe 4 more dinners out of what I harvested last time, which for me is a success for 2 GreenStalks. So, but now I want to perfect it, and I want to grow even more. So I think this method is really going to help. Now what I'm going to do is just put some water on this. I'm going to spray the hose on this just to kind of get it wet and acclimate it into its new home. And I'm going to do the rest of the GreenStalks. So thanks for stopping by and watching how I plant my potato seeds. This is, like I said, a new way that I'm planting my potato seeds in my GreenStalks. But before it gets really dark, I'm going to finish planting, and I will keep you up to date on the potatoes and how they're doing in the GreenStalks. And then of course, once it's ready for harvest, I'm going to see if this method really is better than what I did before to give me a larger harvest of potatoes. Thanks for stopping by, and I really look forward to seeing you all next time. Bye.